Got the weekend off, so I'm finna chill. What's going on, y'all? It is your man, Gerard Kenner. Thank you for checking out the podcast. It's supposed to be different podcast. I don't know what episode number this is. I'm going to probably leave that out. But today's episode, you guys are in for another treat. We're going to be speaking with another Full Sail grad. We actually graduated together. His name is Peter Feliciano. Man, okay, listen. Well, let me just say his full name. Peter Feliciano. All right. My man, he's going to tell you some more stuff about him. My man, the boy is dope. The boy is dope, man. My man's dope. He was actually the salutatorian of our degree program of audio production. I feel away because I wanted I wanted to either I was like, if I can't get valedictorian, I want to be salutatory. And I never told you, he was like, I got like a 3 point. I was like, dang. In my head, I was like, shoot, let me figure out something. So I did some extra credit for I did like the seminar thing. And I was like, let me watch those seminars. Let me do the paragraph, like write my little paragraphs. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna put me at least to like close to like a 3.9 because it's gonna boost my grade up for another grade. I got one grade. I put it at a B, at an A. Man, that thing put me at like a 3 point. It wasn't that bad. I had a 3.79, and then it went to a 3.82. And I was like, all right. Well, maybe once we want these last two classes, it'll boost it. Man, it went to a 3.8. I was like, all right. I was so mad. I was like, God, dog it. But in the same time, in the same breath, I was happy because I was just like, you know what? These guys, what I noticed, especially in this last semester, is that we have some phenomenal classmates.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You, Jeremy, Joseph. Joseph. Hey, Joseph would have been valedictorian. Was it Leon? He would have been valedictorian, but he got sick. I don't know if you remember him talking about that when we were in Florida. He got sick and had COVID or something. Something with him messed him up and like kind of like set him back. So he had like a low grade in one of the semesters.
Doesn't count. Doesn't count. I still get all the credit. In fact, I'm coming for Jeremy. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to Full Sail.
Oh, get out of here. So speaking of that, what I was thinking was, and I'm saying this publicly, we had talked about it, and I'm trying to get more people. They said they were down. I was like, you know what? Let's make life easier. Let's just release the stuff that we did for our last semester. Right. And we just make like instead of doing like a mixtape and we're just gonna do like a playlist. And for one, I was talking to Jimmy about this, and we were both kind of like, well, I don't understand why Full Sail never thought about just making a playlist for audio production or even any other recording arts, right? Audio, music, or audio production, music production, or even what is it, recording arts. Like the students that graduated, hey, let's like showcase. I'm like, y'all showcase everything else except for something with music. You know what I'm saying? Or even sound design. But as far as like the majority of us, we did stuff with music. But in any case, we're going to be talking about graduating. We're going to be talking about our experiences with school. We'll talk about other things prior to school, outside of school, after school, or whatnot. But Peter, tell us a little bit about. Oh, he's a podcaster too. He is an artist. He's a musician. He plays the guitar. And at least that's what I saw. He has a phenomenal voice. No homo. He has a phenomenal voice. My man is dope. He blew. Pause. I'm about to say this. He blew me away. Pause. But he blew me away. Like I heard him sing, and you guys had to Google this. I don't think it's no relation, but there's this guy. His name is Jose Feliciano. And when I heard Peter sing, I instantly said, yo, you sound like this guy. It was like no relation. You just sound like him. So, anyways, Peter, tell us about yourself, bro. And
Thank
welcome
you
to the
very
podcast.
much.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much. And I must say, the music I've heard of yours is phenomenal.
Oh man,
it's the new wave of R&B, man. I'm telling you.
Oh man, don't do that.
I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. It is okay to cuss.
Yep, you got it.
Okay.
Yep.
And because I know it's your show or something, you know.
Mm-mm.
But
I don't.
you know,
put a muzzle on people.
I think, and it's not just enough to be like confident or like
Mm.
believing in ourselves. Like
Yeah.
it's legit. Like I really am really good, and you really are really good. And
That part.
you gotta, it's not just the
Mm.
woo-woo stuff of like believing in yourself. You have to be, you
Yeah.
have express and exercise that muscle, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so I appreciate your music as well, man. And I'm
Oh,
looking forward to
man, thank you.
the stuff we do together.
Listen,
Um,
hold on real quick.
do it.
I meant it. If you need me to, if you go travel somewhere and you want me to background sing for you, let me know. I will gladly do it.
Okay. I could see you. I could see you as like a four top, one of the tops.
Shut up.
well, well, oh, do a lot of this. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah. Do
to
this and
decide. Yeah, dude. The arm up. Yeah.
oh man.
But anyway, yeah. So I'm a musician. I'm a singer songwriter. Um, my dad is a Grammy-winning horn arranger or
You didn't tell me that part.
Grammy
You didn't tell me the
nominated.
Grammy part
Grammy
before.
nominated, yeah, horn arranger.
You didn't tell me
He's
that the last time we like actually talked and
he's
met
an
for the first time.
incredible, right. He's Boricua from Brooklyn, and he
Oh
plays
wow.
trombone and a bunch of other horns and teaches around the Bay Area.
Wow.
Rick Feliciano, incredible musician, incredible like musical mind. And I'll talk
Mm,
more about him in a second. But like, so
I'm about to Google him.
I grew up with him, as well as he did John Lee Hooker Jr.'s last three four albums.
Mm,
He's worked with Phil Driscoll. He's worked with Paul Simon, Billy Joel, Foreigner at a shows in Long Island back in the day. Like he's a
mm.
prolific dude. But anyway, so I grew up with him, and also my mom, who's a piano teacher and has a very
Gotcha.
music theory mind. So I grew up with obviously not just their influence and what they listened to, and et cetera, but also my brothers. I have three brothers, and they're all musical. My older brother is a guitar player, incredible guitar player. My younger brother is an incredible drummer, and my
Mhm.
youngest brother is a great rapper, and actually has a really beautiful
Wow.
just his tone and his voice is just really really beautiful.
Wow.
So anyway, so I come from we grew up like Benson,
Yeah.
making music and stuff, and being immersed in music and just having that mind for it.
Yeah.
When I was, I want to say 24, 25,
Mhm.
I had been going around like doing a couple of I had been doing a couple of joined bands around the
Yeah.
Bay Area in California, and a
Mhm.
little bit in Portland, but like I had joined like these bands to like try to sing for them, try to like do some
Gotcha.
metal music, try to do some whatever, but I was jumping in on other people's stuff. And I
Yeah.
kept hitting this wall of, these guys we're not doing anything. Like we might record
Mm.
a little bit like but it's mostly rehearse, and nothing happens. And I just was getting frustrated. And my
Yeah.
mentor at the time told me, like as far as the complaining thing, you
Mm.
kind of have to shit or get off the pot. He essentially was telling me like he asked like, can you stop creating? And I
Mm.
thought about it for a second. I was like, no, no, it
Yeah.
makes me crazy. My mind
Mhm.
is always coming up with stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
and if I don't try to get it out, I go nuts. And he said, okay,
Yeah.
well then shit or get off the pot, do it on your own. And so I
Mm.
decided, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice my acoustic guitar. I'm going to write a bunch of songs, and I'm going to start, reaching out to venues to start playing on my own. And for the next seven, so this was 2011, yeah.
Mm.
And for the next, 8 years around the Bay Area in California, with steadily increasing frequency, I began performing on my own with my acoustic guitar and my voice.
Yeah.
I started putting up cover songs on YouTube, and got a little bit of traction, not a ton. In fact,
Okay.
one
A
of mine is
little.
well, no, one of mine has gotten two of mine have gotten over 4,000 views.
That's a lot
Um,
of views still.
it's a lot of views, yeah, and
Yeah.
one of them's like 7 years old. I don't know why. For some
Wow.
reason, it like still is like getting weird little. Anyway,
Yeah.
so in that time, I was also, solidifying my original music, and I did a GoFundMe in 2018, twenty
Mm.
seventeen. Yeah,
Mhm.
2017. I did a GoFundMe. No. maybe beginning of 2018. Regardless, I did a GoFundMe to get some money together to record my album with a real producer. I had a real producer in
Wow.
mind, Gowan Matthews. We got 1,500 past the goal, so we definitely, people were incredibly supportive of me, and I love them to death for that.
Hmm.
Of course, recording an album, especially in the Bay Area with like a legit producer and a legit musicians, is very expensive. So I blew through all that money on the album, and then it took me, an additional year, or maybe 9 months past, spending all that money of, using my own money and getting my own money together, because I spent probably two thousand of my own dollars on it.
Mm.
Um, well, and more and time, regardless. Anyway, we could talk more about how time is money later. But
Yeah. Oh my God.
with the incredible producer Gowan Matthews, I got my album together, and I released it back in 2019, September of 2019.
Really?
Yes, sir. And here,
Okay.
maybe I can actually
Because like I was Googling
share
stuff,
the
like
screen.
I Googled your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I found him on Latin Jazz Collective.com. And he's
Yep,
playing the
that's him.
trombone.
Yep, that's him.
Yeah.
So this is the album. I'll share the screen real quick
Okay.
because StreamYard's kind of cool with that. This is the album. It's on Spotify, it's on iTunes,
Oh!
it's on YouTube.
Oh, well, dog. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me follow you, sir.
That'd
I
be
didn't
good.
know that. Yeah,
So I
nah, of
released
course,
this
bro.
September, August of 2019. That is a picture of
Okay.
me biting my tongue with blood dripping down. It's not real blood, don't worry.
I was
Um,
always wondering.
yeah. And then
I was always wondering.
yeah, it's 9 tracks on it. Some of them are filthy. Some of them are, so as a main, point to the album here, let me stop the screen sharing.
Gotcha.
As a main point to the album, people have, my dad, again, who's a music mind and has been in the business for a long, long time, told me I
Yeah.
needed to brand myself. So
Mm.
throughout my throughout my performances throughout the years, people would come up to me and be like, "You sound like Jack Black," or "You sound like Jeff Buckley." And so I decided,
Yeah.
that's my brand. I'm going to put Jeff Buckley and Jack Black. It's a marriage of Jack Black and Jeff Buckley.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jack Black is tenacious D, very over the
Yeah.
top, kind of blah blah blah. Jeff Buckley's very soaring melodies, very
Yeah.
like Lil T, just very haunting '90s,
Yeah.
serious.
That dude is dope.
That dude
He
is
is dope.
that
Well,
dude is
actually,
really
both of
good.
them are dope.
Yeah.
Both of them are
Um,
dope.
and so yeah, so that was the brand, and there's a song on it that's flamenco. There's a song on it that is one or two that are kind of metal. There's one or two that are with violins. There's another or one with a cello, and then there's two with horns. And my dad, the main track, that's why you've got haters, and I'll share
Mm.
that one as well.
Okay.
Um, so that one is the single from the album. Um, so yeah, that's why you've got haters with me doing all kinds of looking silly, putting in a grill.
You are wild. Is that like a real grill for real? Like a grill
Not a
grill?
real one. No, I bought all this
Oh,
stuff. I bought all this stuff at like a party store for like $20. You know, a little yachty wig,
not the yachty.
not the
Yeah,
yachty
boy.
wig. I
Not the
got I
yachty
got into
wig.
it. So this song, this was originally a track I wrote. So for years I did hooks with rappers around the.
UFO. What was this?
Listen, I dance how I dance. Okay, stop yelling at me.
No, 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 no,
But
no. I'm
I
saying it
I
was. I know you. It looked like you were being comical. And I was just like, bro, you're
yeah,
wild.
exactly. It's a song essentially about shitty rappers. I used to write and write hooks and sing hooks for rappers around the Bay Area and actually
Mm,
around the country. And obviously I'm a big hip hop fan.
yeah.
MF Doom is the greatest rapper of all time.
Right.
Although I like a lot of New York stuff and a little bit of West
Mm,
Coast stuff, but mostly New York stuff, and have gotten, a lot of the people of the rappers at the time were like, "Oh, I got haters because I'm bad. I'm good. Blah 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 blah. That's why people hate." And I'm like, "Yeah, sometimes, but you specifically have haters because you're a shitty rapper." Like that's why, because people smell that you don't
Wow.
actually care about the music you're creating. You don't actually care about raising the bar. You don't care about
Mm,
love. You don't care about what we're doing here and trying to rate, trying to make good music. You just want to get money.
right.
Lil Yachty, let's be
Yeah.
fucking real. By the way, can I rant a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kodak
Yeah.
Black, Jet, Lil Yachty, Lil Baby, even though I've never heard any of his tracks. Like these guys, if someone went to them, if a company went to them and said, "We'll pay you more than what you're making right now," all
Yeah.
you have to do is be in a reality show. You'll have the same amount of fame, the same amount of money, the same amount of clout. You
Mm,
just do a reality show. They would do that. They're
they
not real
would.
artists. They don't really care about music. They don't care.
So
Right?
I'm glad that you mentioned that. And I mean, look, man, everybody, I do understand this. Like, music is subjective, quote unquote subjective.
Exactly.
Because I've heard some people say, like, this song is whack. I'm like, this is actually really good. But then
Sure.
they would prefer trash. When I was teaching, I had a student. He sounds just like this. He sounds like, "Hey, yo, Mr. Arnold." That's how he sounds. That's his voice.
Nice.
"Hey, yo, Mr. Arnold. Yo, your music is cool, but you should make a song about eating butt." I'm like, bro, get out of my face.
See,
He
that
was
sounds like
dead.
my purview.
He was comical, but he was a funny kid. But I feel like he was like dead. Yo, your video is wild. I feel like Ah! I feel like he was dead serious. He's like, no, like he's like, your music is actually good. And
Mhm.
he's a kid that listens to stuff like that or listens to people glorify getting shot in the face and RICO
Right,
charges. And he
right, right, right.
celebrates that. He listens to music that glorifies that stuff. But he heard my music and was like, no, it's not bad, Mr. Arnold. But I think that you would get further if you would do this. And this is a kid. And I was like, but that's all they're being shown, more or less.
That's all
Even
right.
from an R&B, I wasn't trying to go on this rant. I blame
Do
you.
it. Do it.
So even from an R&B perspective, certain things are being said in R&B that's not R&B. You're using the music, but you sound like a hip hop artist when you're singing. It
Okay.
has nothing to do with R&B.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, I love hip hop too, but there's certain things that are talked about in hip hop that is like, okay, you can tell that's hip hop. And then when you have those same type of lyrics going into R&B, it's like, this ain't R&B. It ain't. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so it essentially goes back to what you were saying. It's certain things, even they can sing good or they can not sing good, but it's like something's, it's almost like something's being tarnished. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So when you,
Mhm.
so in reference to what you were saying about hip hop, some of the artists are tarnishing the craft because they're just, it's a hustle. So of course, as you said, if they had the chance to be on a reality TV show, they would do that versus rapping.
Mhm. And this is the thing is I feel like even people who don't know any better, the
Yeah,
regular audience, because there's a lot of people who take in
yeah,
music in different ways, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
don't even have it on in the background. I can't listen
Mm,
to music in the background. It becomes in the
mm,
foreground for me. But
yeah,
like,
yeah. You're
but
one of
like,
those. That makes
I'm
sense.
one of those. And sorry, I'll stop the video. Everybody
Oh
go
no,
watch
you're
the
good.
video. That's why you got
Yeah, go
haters.
watch it.
Um, and so I had a here, let me stop the fucking thing. All right. So I feel like even the people who don't take in music or don't care about music can
Mhm.
naturally sense, can
Yeah,
subconsciously sense that people don't actually give a fuck about what they're doing. Now, that
yeah.
doesn't mean that they wouldn't listen to it, but they wouldn't be sold on the artist. Why would they be
Mm,
sold on the artist if the artist isn't sacrificing or giving them anything real? They're not giving them anything authentic. They're not giving them anything valuable,
mm,
creatively, artistically, talentedly, whatever. So I feel like that's one of the things I said in the show. You know, don't get me wrong. There's always a
mhm.
chance that everybody around you is jealous, as far as the haters thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think you know what you're about. You're just scared the
Mm.
audience can smell it, right? You're scared that the audience can smell that I don't give a fuck about them. I don't give a fuck about music. I don't give a fuck about rap. I don't give a fuck about
Right.
whatever. And
It's
I'm
just a
lowering the
hustle.
bar to get it's the hustle.
It's a
And
hustle.
now people are calling me on it. And so I'm going to act like, yeah, you're just a hater. And, I'm just better. And I'm just like, no, bro,
Nah. You're just you're just not good.
just not good. Yeah.
You're just not good. But you got a label behind you that's peddling that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, unhealthy food or something like that, or something that's gonna like
Right.
rot your teeth out. Somebody is peddling that. Somebody has the money to peddle that, and they're gonna keep shoving it in your face until you say,
Right.
you know what, I'm gonna try that.
Right.
And then you're gonna try it and try it and try it and try it, or somebody else is gonna try it. You're like, well, let me try that because so and so tried it, or some other famous person, or my cousin, or my auntie, or my mom, or my brother, my sister, my homeboy, somebody I work with, a boss, somebody, da 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 da. It's like, well, I'm gonna try it too. And now you're being like, it's almost like you're operating as a sheep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah. Have you
come
ever
on, man.
I almost feel like it's similar to like this guy I had on my show. I'll talk about my show later, but like this guy
Mm.
I had on my show, he thought about it in the terms of McDonald's thought,
I was
right?
thinking about that actually.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
I've had times where I'm not being good to myself and I'll eat McDonald's, right? Because McDonald's is
yeah,
not real food. But
right.
where like when you eat McDonald's and you're in that mindset, you want more McDonald's. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it makes you want more McDonald's. So it's like
Mm.
addictive. It's like you know, you're feeding yourself with that nonsense, right?
Right,
And
right.
and then, but if McDonald's were to, you know, say some foul shit or turn out to be racist or whatever it is, like
Yeah.
there would be no investment that I have. It would just be an
Mm.
addiction and something I'm doing. It would just be this
Right.
nothing real, this something that makes my, you know, taste buds feel something that makes my dopamine sensors go like feel good. Like it's not real. There's no
Mhm.
substance, right? But
Right, right.
but if some amazing place that cooks like in Austin, there's a place called Salt Traders, which I like, and I've had their shrimp and grits, which I
Ooh,
oh,
man.
dude, dude,
It sound good right now.
oh
What
my
you mean?
god! I'm thinking about driving, you know, 45 minutes to go get it now. But like if they came out to like be in trouble online, I would give them the kind of benefit of the doubt. I'd be like,
Mm,
well, I don't know, you know, well let's see, because they've given me something substance. They've shown that they care.
mm.
I feel subconsciously that there's an investment in the craft, at the very least, in the craft that
Right.
they create. It's
Yeah.
more of a, you know what I'm saying? So I feel
Mhm,
like
mhm.
I don't know if that analogy works all the way, but
No, no, it makes sense.
yeah,
It makes sense. It makes sense. Yo, so all I'm gonna say this one part
please.
because you mentioned that you just now mentioned that your dad was a Grammy nominee.
Yeah.
So all I'm gonna say is this: it makes sense about that other story.
Which one?
The other story with the other musician. That's all I'm gonna say. The other
Oh,
musician. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna say it publicly, but it makes sense
like
now.
the story my dad told me that I told you?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It makes more
yeah.
sense. I'm like, that's just weird and random. Like, who is this dude? But he's saying that. Oh, but in one perspective, it's almost in competition with your dad. I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. Because
I'll
it's
tell the
like,
story. I won't say the guy's name
okay, okay,
or the whatever. So my
okay.
dad told me this story because I think he actually, if you ever want to, he actually, my dad did an episode of my show a
Oh,
couple
did he
years ago.
really?
Yeah,
All right, I'm gonna check it
he's
out.
incredible. Rick Feliciano, and his band is called, or one of his many projects is called the Latin Rhythm Boys. Latin Rhythm Boys. They've been
Huh.
featured on all kinds of stuff down in
I'm just Googling.
Mexico, and yeah,
Okay.
incredible. It's like a mix of salsa and jibaro, which is like the kind of the Puerto
Yeah.
Rican version of redneck stuff. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
it's really 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 good with the cuatro and all that stuff. And anyway,
Okay.
so go check out Latin Rhythm Boys and my dad Rick Feliciano. So my dad tells the story. You know, he's been connected to the scene for a while, right? And he, you know,
Wow.
he's in blues bands and he's in, you know, salsa bands. He's had all kinds of amazing, you know, cumbia and all that whatever.
Oh, wow.
Actually, maybe not cumbia, but you know, my dad can do anything. But
This is their
um,
site, right?
huh?
Oh, can't see it. Give me
Celebrando, yeah, Celebrando is the name of the album they came out with. I want to
got you.
say 2 years ago, a
Got
year and a
you.
half ago. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and they're working on new stuff too. But so he he tells a story about working with, you know, he's connected to the business, so he's connected to all these musicians, and he
Mhm.
reaches out to these musicians. Hey, we've got a festival gig. I need a trumpet player. Let me grab this guy. Okay, we've got a blues gig that's paying X amount of money. Let's go grab this guy and, you know, bring him on. Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
So he brings this guy on, that he's worked with before that he's not really sure he likes, but they're at a festival. They're at a giant festival, and this guy,
Mhm.
who again he doesn't really like, insists on being, I won't say the guy's, well, maybe, I don't know if the, hmm, let's use a different artist because I know who it is.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
let's use a different artist. Let's say because this is not the guy he says, but Sting, right? So
Okay.
this trumpet player
Codename Sting.
insists on being, I'm Sting's trumpet player, right?
Mhm,
Even though he
mhm.
was on an album of Sting's, quote unquote, 20 years ago, he still insists on being called Sting's trumpet player. Like it's very, this trumpet player is very full of himself. He's very
Mm.
stuffy. He's very like grand, whatever. So
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, my dad needs a trumpet player for this festival gig, brings him on, blah, blah, blah. And they're at this gig and the crowd is loving their stuff, right?
Yeah.
Incredible sauce meat. They're boom, boom, boom. The crowd is
Yeah.
dancing and going crazy and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And the band
As they
leader,
should.
as they should, the band leader points at the horn section and says, solo, go, go. Because when you're in the midst of a crazy, you ride the wave.
Yeah,
My dad,
yeah.
it's beyond second nature. It's like first nature for my dad to do this. So he's like, okay, we got a solo. And the trumpet player steps back and says, I wasn't paid to solo.
Wait, wait, wait. Whoa. Brr, flag on the play. In the middle of a set?
In the middle of a set,
I didn't
giant
know
festival,
that.
giant festival. The crowd is going insane, and this guy's like, I didn't get paid to solo. Right. So my dad's like, fuck you then. And him and his sax player step up to the plate and they go
And
pop, pop,
kill it.
pop, and kill it. And everybody's going even more crazy. Like this is the thing.
They
And I
probably
use
thought
this
it was a they
story.
probably thought it was a skit.
Right.
They're like,
And I
oh,
use
y'all
this
playing that.
Right. And I use this story. My dad was, we were talking about when I was doing my album, like, I was reaching out to a bunch of musicians to do stuff. Right. And I've worked
Mhm.
with musicians over the years and hired them for this and that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And, also worked as a hired gun for, hooks for rappers. So I know what it's like. But like my dad was like, listen, I would rather book a trumpet player who's 97%
Mhm.
than a trumpet player who's 99% and a piece of
Yeah.
shit.
You
Right.
know
I'd
what?
rather work with a 97%, like
Yeah.
a really good trumpet player than an
Yeah.
amazing trumpet player who's hard to work with.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It reminds me of I was talking to Angel about this. We talked about you a few times. Nothing but good stuff. But
Yeah. She's cool.
yeah, man. It was actually Questlove. I believe it was Questlove. It was on his podcast. And this is before Prince died. Prince asked Questlove something. I think it was Prince. But I'm trying, yeah, I think it was those two. No, it was somebody else. I feel like it's Questlove. Maybe it was Questlove's podcast. And they were talking about somebody else. But in any case, the dude knew Prince and was just like, Prince was looking for a female to come through and sing some background vocals. He
Mhm.
knew one chick, phenomenal, but she really sedity. So she was like funny acting and all this other stuff going on. And so, she kind of like brushed Prince now. She brushed Prince off. That says a lot
That
about
says a
your
lot.
character
Right.
to brush Prince off. What do you
Right.
mean? And so he was like, all right. So then he hit up this other chick that wasn't as good as this other girl, but she was still good.
Mhm.
Can do the job, can hold her bucket of water really well
Mhm.
and not waste it. But she wasn't the same caliber, but her character was different.
Right.
Oh, yeah, sure. You need me to do that? Yeah. Prince was like, yeah, I like her. Basically keep her coming around. I had to find that pod because I remember when I heard the story, I was like, bro, that's Prince. You fumbled.
Yeah.
as a
That's the
as a
biggest
singer,
fumble of all time. Like, I don't
that's a
care.
fumble.
Because I've heard stories too. Like I was started listening to this book. I stopped listening to it because it was annoying.
What?
The authors, but anyway, I won't go into that. But where Prince was, it's legendary that Prince was difficult, not difficult, but like he was Prince. He's the
He's
virtuoso
Prince.
of virtuosos. Like
Yeah.
if he says he wants to come in at 3:30 in the morning, you got to be ready to come into the studio at 3:30 in the morning.
It's Prince.
It's
And you're
Prince.
gonna get paid.
Right.
That you knew you were going to get paid. Like let's just keep it a buck. We ain't never heard unless they come out with some other crazy stories later on. Prince ain't never did nobody dirty when it came to money, far as we know.
Right.
You gonna get
And
paid.
very specifically fought companies who were doing him dirty over money.
That part. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, yeah, you gotta really that's a fumble. That
It's
is
a
a
huge fumble.
fumble.
And that's the thing about pride too, because like, there's
Mm,
some people I've worked with who, I'll just work with them it's a very small amount of people. So if you're thinking of reaching out to me for a hook, I'm sorry, I am expensive now. I kind of price
he
myself
said
out.
the
The
prices have
price
changed.
The prices have changed, but there are a few motherfuckers. One of them I'm working with right now.
Yeah.
His name's IMF. We've done tracks together, done shows together, and he's more of like a family member. He's like a
Mhm,
brother. He's like or not
mhm.
family member, brother, but he's like a good
Wait,
friend. And
IMF.
I've known him. Yeah, he's a San Francisco rapper. Sweet
Wait,
dude.
wait, wait. It's not Bumps IMF, is it?
I've never heard of that. No.
Okay, then it's never mind. There's two different people. Okay, yeah,
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 IMF,
continue.
the IMF, like he's a great rapper and a really just a solid dude. And so
Mhm.
I'm not gonna trip about, I'm not gonna make it like about prices, like because you're a friend, like, you know what I mean? Like, and he's a good fucking rapper, and I like, but there was another track I did, and I'll name names. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Because this motherfucker's not doing music anymore anyway, so eat
Wow.
shit. But well, not eat
Ah,
shit. He was okay. But like here's the thing.
yeah.
I did a track, I sang a hook for a rapper in the Bay Area, a San
Yeah.
Francisco San Francisco rapper called Heat.
Mhm.
And we didn't know each other very well, but he was all right. He was, whatever. We'd see each other at shows. I mostly did tracks with his a friend of his.
Mhm, mhm.
And Heat needed a singer for this big 49er anthem, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be good to do for my career. Like I wouldn't say like I chased clout or anything like that,
Yeah.
but I knew I wasn't going to get paid, but I was okay with it because he was friends with my friends who I
Yeah.
actually really have worked with before, and I really like whatever. So we did this track, and it was okay. It was a good
Mhm,
experience. I have
mhm.
nothing to say wrong about the guy in the process of doing that. But since that, and really like pretty quickly, and not only did I not get paid, which I'm fine, like I knew that ahead of time, but
Mm,
when it came to like shouting me out, I maybe
mhm.
got like tagged twice,
Wow.
maybe,
Yeah.
right? When I look at
Mhm.
when I looked at the, that video has 240,000 views on YouTube,
Wow. Wow.
and I've gotten no love from it. Like I'm in the title,
Mhm. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like if I'm not going to get paid, like if I'm reaching out to a dude, right, a rapper, a feature, whatever, and I'm
Mhm.
and I'm letting them know ahead of time I'm not going to pay them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm sorry, I'm at least going to big them up as much as I can. Even a
Right.
fucking a good example. That's why you've got haters. It celebrated my album celebrated 3 years old a couple of
Mhm.
weeks ago. And
Oh,
when I
wow.
posted the video clip, I tagged as many people as I could who worked
Mhm.
on it, who performed with me live, who whatever,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I
as you
feel like I
should.
want to give them love. You know what I mean? So that Bay Area
Right.
dudes or whoever, hey, if you need a drummer, check out Will Jenkins. If you need a drummer, check out Kyle Caprista. If you need a producer, check out Gowan Matthews. If you need a singer
Mhm.
or a guitar player or a writer, check out Jefferson Berge. Like to big up these people who not only have I mean, and I did pay them all, but like,
Mm.
or maybe not Jefferson. No, anyway.
Mm.
No, I did.
Yeah,
But
you
like,
good, man.
I not only did I pay them, but I want to make sure that they feel good working with
Yeah.
me, right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that
Yeah.
they feel appreciated, that they feel seen, that they feel, like this was a solid thing. And so as much as I can, I've tried to be good to the people I've worked with. And I've gotten
Yeah.
maybe tagged twice in that fucking 49ers video when he
Wow.
posted about it years ago. And then since then, I'm in the title, but that's it.
Wow.
And it felt like, this is and not that I sold my soul, but it was one of those times where it was just like, what was this even for? What was this
Yeah.
even for?
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
a spiritual level, on an emotional, mental level, like
Mm.
I deserve better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
deserve good things. And,
Right.
if people don't see that, that's not my business.
It's not my
Sorry,
business.
it isn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Like we
and
oh, go
people
ahead.
like even growing up or going up in the business, like, do you think that even if whether you like her music or not, right? Do you think
Mhm,
that Gaga or or Erica Badu or
mhm.
whoever the fuck, do you think that they like, well, just pay me whatever, you set the prices and no,
Yeah.
they knew what they had. They knew
Yep.
the voice that they needed to. They knew the communication. They knew themselves, right?
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
knew that they were worth what more. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
people acted accordingly. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
not saying I've definitely had a couple of times where people like are asking irrational amounts or
Yeah.
think too much of themselves, especially
Mhm.
like, where they're at, whatever. But at the same time, if someone is quality, I have no problem. At one time I reached out to
Yeah.
this rapper friend of mine, or not rapper friend, this rapper I like, and I was like, I invited him on the show, and he's like, he's not big, but he's underground big, and I
Yeah.
invited him on the show, and he answered back like, he's like, hey, thanks for the invite, but when you get, I'm down to do it when you get more followers, right? Now, I don't mind that. Number one,
Yeah,
because I
that's
know this
fair.
motherfucker, and he's kind of a spiky douchey dude, right? So,
Okay. Yeah,
it is
it's
what it
just
is. That's
it is
You're
what
right.
it is.
But number two, I get that. I would rather get, hey man, reach out when you have more, whatever. I would rather get that. And he was
Yeah.
respectful, but like I
Yeah.
would rather get that than like nothing or, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like I would
I
rather.
had the nothing. I had the nothings plenty of
Right.
times.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's like, to be honest, he was right. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
didn't have enough. Maybe I have enough now, but I don't really want to talk to him anyway. But like, it,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. I'm realistic
Yeah.
about where I'm at, but I
Yeah.
also know that I know what I create is valuable.
Mm.
And people love it. And so I'm not going to stop, and I'm not going to like denigrate it to fit,
Right.
the budget or the ego of some other, douchebag.
Yeah. So let's get into that, man. So you going to school with your background, that part I didn't know with your dad. So what made you say, okay, I want to go to Full Sail?
Well, first things first, it was the pandemic, really.
Yeah.
I had in my mind, I had just moved to New York like
Mm.
2 days before the city got shut down, and I lost my job, and it was the end of the world, right?
Wow.
Um, yeah, it was definitely like a universe, like, okay, God, now what?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had moved to New York to do the music thing because in San Francisco there's no music. There's some hip hop,
Mm.
and that's all I'll say about that.
But it's
But
New York though. Like,
Well,
what
I'll
you
get there. I'm
mean?
saying there's some
Okay.
hip hop in San Francisco. So I moved to New
Oh,
York right
got you.
before the pandemic to be a part of the music scene. And then everything got shut down. And I was like, okay, now what? All right, you know
Yeah.
what? I'll go to school. So I went to school for audio production and been going to Full
Wow.
Sail, since then. And it was
Wow.
great. And that's similar to my move to Austin is to because there's no music happening in New York anymore, because New York is not New York anymore.
That's weird to me.
RIP. But it's like, I want to be around the greatest, I want to give my career the greatest chance at success that it can have.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's why I went to Full Sail.
Okay, that's what's up. So, how was your? I mean, we were both online students, but how was your personal experience going to Full Sail?
I loved it, man. I
Yeah,
really did. Yeah.
yeah.
I gotta say, like on a spiritual level, I don't know, how much people talk about this on your show, but like for
Oh
me,
man,
it was
I talk about it a lot.
but I mean, for me, it was like on a spiritual tip. It was, I mean, for years, I'm 36. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
told myself for years that college was for other people. That I
Mm.
was that I was people smart and street smart. I wasn't book smart. Like I would say that stuff and I would believe
Huh.
that stuff. And
Wow.
it turns out that was bullshit because I got a 3 point goddamn 9.8. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and I'm coming for you, Jeremy.
Right.
So
We
like
all coming for you. We all coming for you.
me and Gerard are going to show up to Full Sail in person and be like, "Listen, Mr. Course Director, you made bad calls. All right, Jeremy actually got an F. I heard Jeremy smells like cheese. Jeremy is no,
And he uses loops. He didn't make those beats.
right,
Like
exactly,
just be lying on him. He didn't.
right,
He with the splice.
right,
I don't think he did that.
um,
That'd be wild.
right.
Continue.
But yeah, like it was life affirming. It was self affirming. on it was, you know, I realized that I was smart. I
Yeah.
realized that I was capable on another level. It was this analogy that gets
Mm.
passed around the spiritual group of mine. It's like the layers of the onion, right? Like the
Mhm.
older you get, the more you're in this whatever project or whatever. It's like you get to know yourself on another layer deep, and on another
Yeah.
layer deep, and on another layer
Yeah.
deep. It was another layer of like, oh, I can do that. I am good at this. I do have a good
Mhm.
mind for it. I am
Yeah.
capable. Like it's not other people, and not just that, but like the producer of my album, Gowan Matthews, it is an incredible producer and an incredible mind, an incredible musician, instrumentalist, like a solid, amazing dude to work with. If you're in the Bay Area, please go work with Gowan Matthews. But
Wow.
for me, it was a lot of fucking money. You know what I mean? And not that he's
Yeah.
overpriced. He was very real, but like comparatively, but like, I was doing it all myself. Like I
Yeah.
said, the
Yeah.
GoFundMe money went quick. So like to be able to produce my own stuff is
Yeah.
so much more. There's more autonomy in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's more
Yeah.
capability in my life because it's like, oh, I can do
Mhm.
this. This is what I can do. This is
Yeah.
it's more in my wheelhouse now.
Yeah. And it is. It's more fulfilling when you're like,
Mhm.
yo, so like even if you don't tell people, you'd be like, I did this. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
So I've been doing stuff like that for years, even before school. It's a lot of work because, like, with me, I just had to figure it out. I was like, how do I do? Just figure it out, right?
Mhm.
But it's really fulfilling. You know what I mean? When somebody's like, "Yo, I like your stuff. This is really dope," and you're like, "Yo, I put a lot of work." You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we as artists,
Yes.
we're sensitive about our stuff.
Yes.
So, but it's like, but when somebody says that, yo, it made me feel like this when I heard it. I love it. I put it on repeat. I do this. I do that. I tell people I this. I'll share it. I da da. Da. It's like, thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just that. That's almost like the base level for it. Because of course we want to get paid for what we do, but
Sure.
the base level is, yo, I appreciate what you've done with this,
Right.
or you've given me something I wasn't
Right.
expecting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or I didn't know that I needed this song. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's those things. So it's really fulfilling, bro. It's really fulfilling, man. And man, I'm glad that you went too. Cause you're dope. You're cool, bro. You're a
Thank you,
cool
sir.
cat. You're phenomenal, man. So it's like it, and that's and again, it goes back to what I was saying. We have some phenomenal people in our class.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like dope. Just like I've heard some other people stuff. I was like, all right. But it's like, I'll say it like this: majority of us are really good
Yeah.
in my graduating class. Our graduating class are
Right.
really good
Right.
at what we're doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're really good. And I was just like, geez, man. My only thing is that I wish we would have talked more as a class.
Yeah.
I
Well, here's the thing too, and I'll give you another compliment. Like you're a guy who you have a spirit for connecting people. You know what I mean? It's rare.
yeah.
Let me finish my damn
Okay, go ahead.
compliment.
Okay. Go ahead.
You have a spirit for connecting people in a
Mm,
way that I wouldn't have thought of. Like the way you
okay.
and I got connected.
Yeah.
And I've told you this before, but I'll say it again now on the show. But like,
Shout out
you
to
know,
Instructor Curtis.
yeah, Instructor
Yeah.
Curtis reached out and was like, "Oh, my student Peter Feliciano just moved to Texas.
Yeah.
Gerard Kenneth lives in Texas." Boop, but that could have happened and then been the end of it, right? Instead, it was like you, and then here's this idea, and then like you're an enthusiastic person who likes to connect
Mhm.
people, who likes to bring. So like as far as wanting us to talk more, that makes sense, like as a class,
Yeah.
right, that you would have that
Yeah.
spirit. And bringing this idea of like
Yeah.
community, maybe building up the community of Full Sail graduates more.
Yeah.
And maybe in some
Mm,
classes it doesn't make sense, but like building up that community more, having them talk more, and
yeah.
and having playlists or stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's something that you can that's what I appreciate about your spirit. You're a very enthusiastic person, and obviously you back it
Yeah.
up with talent too. But
Mhm.
like that's legit. And
I appreciate it.
because my mind is not as like I. we all have our different strengths, like Super
Yeah,
Friends.
yeah.
I always say like, it's a Patrice O'Neill original. God bless Patrice O'Neill, the
Yeah,
comedian, the greatest comedian of all time. But
yeah,
like
he's funny.
he made an analogy about Super Friends, and then I added this idea that like you wouldn't ask Superman to talk to fishes, and you wouldn't ask Aquaman to scale tall buildings in a single bound. We all
Right.
have our strengths. And the
Yeah.
job of our lives, I think, is to spiritually figure out what is my strength. Why did God, the universe, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
put this spirit in me to do X, and let me
Right.
build that up and whatever. And I think one of the things, besides just incredible talent, blah, 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 is your spirit to connect people. And I appreciate being around that because it makes me
Oh,
think of
man.
like, oh, you know what? Yeah, we should connect. Yeah, why don't we have a.
Yeah. So I guess it's just me just trying to figure that out and just seeing who because I put it like this. We probably don't say it like this, but essentially, if we're in audio production, we're nerds. We like sound. We like we're creatives. No, just hear me out, bro. Look, man, I've been a nerd all my life, dog. I had the anchor
I know.
blasters.
I heard the waifu song.
Oh, man. Yo, you gotta make it cool though, dog. You gotta make
Yeah,
it
I know.
cool.
I
No,
know.
my wife be like, she does not watch anime. That's one of the reasons why I wrote the song. Had a conversation with a homeboy of mine. His name is Caleb Durham, and he's a producer as well. Actually he's like a trained jazz musician.
Mm,
Out of North Carolina. I always get it North Carolina or South Carolina. It's one of the Carolinas. But him and I had a conversation one day, and I was like, "Man, I wish my wife would watch anime." And we were just talking about that, and I was like, "I should write a song about that." And I
mhm,
ended up writing a song, and it ended up being in the same time it was school. So I was like, "All right, bet." But for the most part, the reason I say that is because we don't really have that per se. We can get on blogs, we watch these videos, and shout out to Devon Terrell. He's actually an alumni. He's a R&B artist and a mix engineer as well.
mm,
Phenomenal dude. The dude is cold. I wish I could talk to him one day just to just pick his brain about stuff. But we got all these different avenues, but we don't have something to where it's like a real like let's just meet and greet and really talk. You know what I'm saying? Because
right,
not every, you know what I'm saying? Like you and I, we're artists as well. We're in audio production, but we're artists too. And it
right.
plays a part in our network. And that's something that I've been really trying to like push myself to do too. That's another reason I was like, yo, let's just do this. How come we don't do this? And the other part with Full Sail is no shout to Full Sail. I was just like, there's been a lot of people, especially when I went to the tour, and it was like, so and so recorded here, so and so
Mhm,
did this. So I'm like,
mhm, mhm.
what did they do with their classes? Let's showcase that. Like, how come we're not showcase? It was just a thought. I'm
Right.
like, we're dope.
Yeah.
Why are we not? You know what I'm saying? That was all my head. I
Right.
said, why are we not
Mm,
showing what's so but that's just something, man. Cause it's like it's different when you can share with somebody. You're like, oh, that's cool, guy. You know what I'm saying? Like almost treating you like you a kid. Hey, I can do a cartwheel. Good job, Timmy. You know what I'm
right,
saying? You
right,
know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
But
right.
if you like, yo, you hitting somersaults and you're
Mhm,
doing gymnast stuff, and it's like, hey, and there's a whole community of us
right,
or as a whole group of us, let's build a community of that in some shape, form, or fashion, at least within our
right,
graduating class. 'Cause I don't
right.
talk to nobody from high school. Not, like, you know what I'm saying? Not for real. Like, if we have like what's the thing? The reunion. I ain't
Yeah,
never been to one. Never
right.
been to one. Don't want to go because I ain't really
Right.
talk to nobody in high school.
Yeah.
But college,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like we
Especially
were
college where it's focused on similar stuff. Because if you go to a
exactly.
reunion, there's gonna be people who are scientists and people who are janitors or whatever, which no
Exactly.
offense, I'm
Yeah.
not whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
saying as far as passion and connection and whatever, the fact that
Right.
we not only are college people, but we've also it's a specific, form of study and
Yes.
passion, that makes a difference.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And we're able to relate. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we'll share stories, funny stories, our experience with artists, random people, other people that we work with, but we're able to learn things from each other. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And this is a form of I hope I'm saying this, camaraderie,
Yeah.
right? Well, it's a form of togetherness with us, man. So yeah, we'll get it together. Because everybody,
Yeah.
but see, the only thing online is that everybody's busy. Everybody has individual lives. People work, people don't,
Right.
people got kids, people married, everybody got something, everybody has something going on.
Right.
So it's just trying to figure it out. But I don't want to keep you, bro. It's been about like an hour. So you told us about what you've been doing over in the Bay. You told us about your background with music. You told us what's been going on as far as Full Sail, what you've actively been doing. Um, just share tell us about your podcast. Just real quick. Like tell us about your
Okay.
podcast. Tell us about where we can find you as well. But yeah, share some stuff with us concerning your podcast.
So my podcast
Please.
is thank you. My
Mm,
podcast is called Conservatish.
mhm.
I speak with, it's been going on since August of 2018. And
Okay.
I speak with musicians, activists, writers, drag queens, comedians, people from all walks of life and political background.
Mm,
And the goal is to, well, I mean, it's shifted a little bit. In the beginning,
mhm,
it was to humanize the often dehumanized. It
mm.
was to, so I had abuse survivors, and I've had non-political shows recently, but
Gotcha.
like the last couple of years, year and a half, especially, it's been ramping up and been mostly political.
Gotcha.
Um, just mostly because it, and you and I have had long conversations about this, but like,
Yeah.
where ultimately it's a show not only to humanize the often dehumanized, but also to hold a safe space for free speech and messed up humor,
Mm.
right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And because my life in the Bay Area and in New York, but especially Bay Area when I started the show, was very difficult to question the narratives that are you're surrounded with, right? And so I would
Wow.
notice that, like, okay, yeah, I like gay people, but that doesn't mean I don't like guns. Like, can't I like both things? Like, why do I have to pick a side? Oh,
Right.
if you if you like Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you're not black. It's like, bro, like
Boy.
that's
I
disgusting. That's like morally repugnant. But anyway, um,
yeah.
so like I like to humanize people in the way of showing how varied
I'm
we are.
sorry. Like, so am I white then if I don't vote for you?
Right,
Like
exactly. Right. Oh, and that's really gonna make me wanna like, yeah. Anyway, but I won't get political, but I'll just say like my experience was that, a good friend, a good family member, a very close family member, was is a lesbian, and
Mhm,
she voted
mhm.
for Trump in 2016 when I
Okay.
didn't, right? And
Yeah.
so it was just like, it like planted the seed in my head, like, I guess people are allowed to think whatever they think, and I don't
Yeah.
have to put them in a box because of it.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I've gotten obviously my network, my following has grown because of it. My life has grown because of it. But one of my favorite things is to have people who don't fit, quote unquote, the narrative come on
Mm.
and share different things. I have a
Yeah.
friend who's
Yeah.
a socialist who I've had on the show. I've had a ton of black conservatives, a ton
Mhm.
of gay conservatives,
Mhm.
even a trans conservative who's a friend of
Wow.
mine. Like I like people who don't fit in the mold, not only because I don't, but also because I don't like how polarized we've become. And listen, I'm
Mm.
not above that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm a human just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like having the show to be like, okay, well, what about them? Oh, if you
Mm.
don't vote for, Joe Biden, as you're not black as an example. Okay, well,
Yeah.
what about them? What about them? What about them? And I've like popped up all these black conservatives because, like, do they deserve a voice? Do
Yeah.
they deserve to think for themselves? Do you know
Yeah.
better than them, or do they know their own mind? Do they know their own
Right.
priorities? Do they know that?
Yeah.
And so giving a space for other people who don't fit the mold
Yeah.
is freeing, not only for them, but also for the people who are quiet, who also don't fit the mold out there in the universe,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so I hold the space for that, and obviously it's over the top. I rant a lot. I joke filthy and say all
It's your
kinds of
show.
whatever,
You do
but
whatever you want.
it is an aspect of me that I really adore, and and have gotten to it's brought a lot of love and truth into my life, and also gotten me better at humanizing people I disagree with,
Mm.
and
And
seeing them as
that's interesting. I'm glad that you said that because we tend to just with us just being people in general,
mm,
we tend to dehumanize people in some shape, form, or fashion. If you don't like this, then you're not this, and you can't do this. Or we're not gonna get into that because I talked to my homeboys about this. You can't do this because you're a man. You can't do this, or you're
mhm,
not supposed to do this. It's like, what are you talking about? Like,
mm,
I'm human. Like, case in
right.
point, and I'm gonna end it too. But Case in point, my cousin, a younger cousin of mine, I love him. I'm trying to get him to go to Full Sail. I'm trying to get him to go into audio production too.
Mm,
I'm like, that's cool. You want to do all this other stuff? You might, if you're gonna go to Full Sail, you might as well go for audio production and do all of what everybody else is doing individually. You know what I'm
right,
saying? You got the artists, recording artists, music production. We do all of that in audio production.
right.
But in any case, he was talking about the feminine, touching your feminine side, like crying, being emotional. I was
Mhm,
like, bro, it's not feminine. You're just being human.
right,
And for as far as like men are concerned, we're being looked at. Boys don't cry. We don't do this. We don't do that.
right,
But then,
right.
but those feelings and emotions come out in an aggressive manner
Yeah,
all the time. And it's like
right.
you think that I'm like that, or I'm a nah, bro. Like I might be in a car and just crying
Yeah,
because I'm something bothered me. You might not see it. My daughter might see it. My wife might see it. One of my friends might see it. But that doesn't make me effeminate. And that's what I was telling
right,
my cousin. I was like, that doesn't make you effeminate. You're not touching some feminine side. That's a human side that we were told as men not to tap into.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And I get it. You know what I'm saying? You're Puerto Rican. So I get the whole machismo thing. Essentially,
Yeah,
we deal
right,
with the
right, right,
same thing. We don't
right,
have a word for it, but we deal with the same thing. But it's like we're human.
right.
We're human. I was
And
sharing some things
and
too with my dad, and he got emotional. I was like, man, we're human. That's all we
right.
are. And
Being and just to bring it back to Full Sail too, like
mm,
graduating, you and I were
yeah.
fucking bawling,
Oh
dude.
yeah,
Like
we cried. I was trying not to cry. I was like, I'm not gonna cry. He was like, come on. I was like, man, don't touch me, dog. I'm not gonna cry. And then you cried,
because
and then I was like,
it's beautiful. Like the weight of what we did and
yeah,
accomplished hit
yeah,
us, and it's okay to just be like, I did that. I did the
yeah,
fuck out of that. Like I
yeah,
like I'm proud of
yeah,
myself. Like I
yeah,
did it. And it's just such a, I mean, and that's human, like you're saying. It's
yeah,
natural and it's
yeah.
good to do that. Hold space
Yeah,
for it.
I broke down right after it. It really like it still hasn't hit me, but it hit me enough to I was like, oh shoot, I
Mhm.
really, I really did this. And I can honestly say, outside of God, nobody actually pushed me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
People usually say, oh, so and so. No, bro, it was me.
Right.
Like I was like, man, let me get these grades up. Let me da 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 da. This is something that I was passionate about. And shout
Right.
out to our president Gary Jones for even creating the school because he was just like, look, man, you're making your passion into a profession.
Right.
And can't nobody take that because people watch TV, people listen to music,
Mhm.
and it's actually really professional. What even with these goofy artists that we be hearing about, they're in a profession. They're dealing with professionals. They have to sign paperwork and documents and non-disclosure, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Forms, and they have to sign paperwork. They got to get This is professional. As much as we see it on the outside and it don't look professional, on the inside, it's actually way more professional than we think it is. People are getting sued, all these different things, but it's a profession, right? But for us, it's our passion. We're converting to that. But yeah, man, you're right, dog. We were boo-hooing. It hit me.
Yeah.
It hit
Yeah.
me right towards it. I was like,
And like if I'm the bottom line is for me is like, and I know it sounds crazy to some aspects, like,
mm,
but like I know people who vote differently than me who have
yeah,
saved my life.
yeah, man.
Who have saved my life. So it's like,
Yeah,
and people who I love. Like, does that mean that I have, that I like to follow them on Facebook? Not necessarily. And I don't
right.
mind even friends and family of mine who don't follow me because of that. Like, I get that.
Yeah,
But like, it is an aspect of me, and I've practiced that muscle of humanizing, like you said, and knowing when I know myself better, when I know
yes,
myself more deeply,
yeah,
I can understand why someone might vote something different. It's not
yeah,
like they must hate America or they must be a snowflake or they must be racist. It's like, bro, calm down. Like
yeah,
sometimes that's true, but most of
yeah,
the
yeah.
almost all the time, my what I've loved about my show is having even diehard liberals on my show, like,
Mm.
is that when you get them off of social media, most people are reasonable. Most
Yeah,
people they mean
yeah,
well. They have
hmm
love in their life. They
yeah,
take care. They have they're good people in these
yeah.
so
They're human.
um they're human,
Yeah.
and that's what conservatism is all about. And so yeah, I had that show and I do it mostly weekly.
Okay.
And I've had some big names on it, and I'm growing, and I've got 1,210, I think, subscribers on YouTube. I am
That's
heavily
good
shadow
stuff.
banned, but
For real?
yeah, I'm very shadow banned. Yeah,
Dang. 'Cause you
but that's yeah,
man.
it's because I'm Puerto Rican. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But but like but that's okay, because regardless, I am earning every single one of the fans that I get. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And it's more valuable to me, and I'm not going to stop anyway because I believe my message, regardless of my over the top joking and my filthy bad ideas and my this and my that, my message is more important than the consequences. It's almost like that dude told me back, my mentor told me back in the day, can you stop creating? No.
Yeah.
So if God put
Yeah.
that in you, if God put that desire for me to hold space for filthy opinions and ideas and jokes and humanizing people, if God
Mhm.
put that spirit in me, I'm not
Yeah.
going to stop. I'm just
Right.
not.
Yeah.
So regardless of the shadow banning, regardless of people going, somebody never mind, I'm not gonna somebody added me to a list on Twitter. It was really a super offensive name. I'll share it later. But like
Okay.
people have a couple of maybe two white people have called me Nazi,
Nazi.
yeah. So like it
Yeah.
happens, right? But all I'm saying
Yeah.
is, regardless of the consequences,
Nazi.
I know that I'm doing what I need to do. I know that I'm doing
Yeah.
what I'm supposed to do. And
Mm.
that includes the music, that includes the producing, that includes the
Yeah.
network, that includes the love. And it's all good. So
Yeah, man. Peter, that's good stuff, bro.
thank you,
I'm
sir.
surprised the camera didn't drop yet. But Peter, thank you. Guys, thank you for watching. This is nice. I don't use
Yeah,
this
it's a great
camera.
this is
So
fun, man. Oh,
no,
the
but for real,
camera?
man. I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, this is good.
It
But
is a good camera.
shout out
I
to
need
my
to get a
wife.
better one.
No,
Yeah,
she
shout out to
bought it.
her.
It's actually a Sony A, what is it, 400 or something like that. Really, it's
Okay.
cheap. It's old, bro, but it does the job. You can find it like cheap somewhere right now for
Okay,
probably
well,
like between
text
like
me
a
text
hundred.
me the yeah, text me the whatever because
I'll take a look for
I
it.
do wanna legit.
But yeah, man, guys, thank you for checking out the podcast. It's supposed to be different podcast. I don't even know what to call this podcast. I guess, well, we still call it's still part of the theme of college life. So, college life part two, featuring Peter Feliciano. Thank you guys for checking this out. If you're watching it on YouTube or I should be able to upload this on IG. We'll find out because IG is being weird. But as far as you guys listening to it, as far as the podcast on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening to it from. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Peter, thank you, bro, for coming in, sharing your thoughts, sharing your stories. Hey, man, no homo, bro. I love you, man. I love you. You
Love you
my
too, man.
brother. You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? You're just not just a classmate. You my homeboy. This is official. You're
Yeah.
not. You're not. You're not an associate. You you are my friend.
I get the discount. No, I'm just kidding.
I got you, dog. Nah, I mean,
No,
for
no,
what?
no. We'll
No,
yeah,
but
we'll do stuff together. We'll both be investing our time and our talent.
yeah, yeah. And
It'll be
please
great.
check out this man's stuff. This dude is phenomenal, y'all.
Thank you, sir.
He is phenomenal. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm out. Peace and God bless. Deuces.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the simplest beats, the tiredest rhymes, that city gold chain, and the childish wine.